thinking about the year and how things transpired in 2020, just the changes in my personal and professional career, and the continual growth that I feel, both intellectually and even physically. This has been an incredible experience in the past year. And I think this is a good time after I've gotten my first tattoo and my body is feeling a little bit sore. I would say on a scale to 1 to 10 being 10, the worst pain that I've ever experienced, I would give this a steady 1. It's more like an itch than anything. So, post tattoo, day 1. Now it's time to reflect on 2020 and my escapades and the lessons and the goals I set myself out to achieve. 2021, I hope, will be a continuation of this. And what I mean by hope, I mean I'm very optimistic as well that the phone went off, that I can continue the momentum that started in 2020. And excuse me as I'm turning off this phone. I should say I'm silencing the phone. Boop, boop. Okay. So 2020 was a year for me about one major priority: progression. Progression in the profession that I choose to go into, which is nursing. And what a time to finish your nursing career in February, get the NCLEX, excuse me, and pass that with one go. I think it was 75 questions or some shit. Either way, the minimum amount. Props to past me for doing that. I thought he was incompetent, but it turns out that he is quite good at taking tests when it matters, as he has failed many before. However, becoming a nurse around March when COVID really hits and the turmoil that comes with not really being prepared and seeing just the American healthcare system scramble and adapt on the fly and make decisions very brashly. I got to see a lot of different things when it comes to communication in the profession, and when things don't go according to plan, how communication can break down from the chain of command up and down. A lot of valuable lessons, and maybe one day I'll talk about that. But as a reflection of 2020, another thing that I worked on is the idea of maintaining good relationships and preventing resentment in all the relationships that matter in my life. That is a big thing that I've learned I need to prevent. And the way to prevent resentment is to have something that I've learned from somebody that I would have never guessed I would learn from. And that idea is having emotional intelligence to tell the truth. So being able to read the room, read the person, body language tells a lot. Tone of voice and the way someone says something matters a lot more than the words in itself. And to be able to read a room, read a person's face and demeanor, and figure out how to modulate telling the truth in a way that is more effective for them to absorb, to take in, to be comfortable in taking in, or maybe no matter what, it's going to be uncomfortable, but at least it is necessary. And at the very least, the job, the mission is done. The mission to tell the truth, and for that person to know where I stand, where the relationship stands. And this is every relationship, every dynamic. Loved ones to even strangers to co-workers. And I found since I've implemented this idea of resentment, I've lost some relationships that unfortunately were doomed for a multitude of reasons. And I've strengthened relationships that I would have otherwise thought that they were weak. But now I have strong bonds with them. And going back to the ones that I've lost, it's sad. It saddens me to think about my initial reaction is pain, because the relationships were good. But looking at things and taking a step back, I noticed that no matter what's going to happen in the relationship, this most likely will not end well for one reason or the other. And to make a decision saying, okay, whatever mission or job or dynamic that we have right now, it's either done with or this is the peak. And there's two options. You can move forward or move away. And there's so many different options, so many different aspects and factors that should be put in place when making these decisions of cutting someone off. But at the end of the day, if it is more beneficial to do so for both parties, but especially oneself, then a tough decision has to be made, because there are so many amazing people out there. If I take the time to sit down and listen to their stories, see how the dynamic between me and that person really just goes off. So yeah, that doesn't take away from all the good memories from the previous friendship, the previous relationship. It doesn't take it away. It's just locked into a valuable archive of memories and lessons. Whenever I hear or see that person, I'll always remember the fond things, because it was a friendship. But unfortunately, friendships end. So that's the idea of resentment, is to make sure that even though things end, there's no resentment. So I can properly cherish everything that mattered in that relationship and not how it ended. So that was the other aspect. In 2020, I wanted to build off of the idea that I want to be a better brother. I want to be a better son. I want to be a better friend. I want to be a better loved one. And that will always be a continuation. And just like stocks, it goes up and down. Some days I'm excellent, and some days I could be better. And maybe there'll be a time where it completely dips down. But as long as that chart, that curve, not curve, but that projection continues to keep going up, that's okay. That's one of those, take a step back and look at everything with a clear mind, even though there are several different aspects of life pulling in multiple different directions with varying force, just to be able to say, okay, let me take a step back and see, am I going to the right trajectory? Is it going up? Even though things feel down right now, looking back 2 months ago, 10 months ago, years later, going back at that and saying, yeah, I'm doing okay. We're still progressing. That has a lot of meaning to me. And I know that will continue in 2021. Right now, the goal for 2021 is to continue to build off, physical health, mental health, environmental health. What I mean is to maintain a clean environment, an organized environment around me, to be able to be a leader in a way that is effective, and sometimes to be a follower in the way that is most effective. Sometimes people need to have a position of power and leadership, and even though I'll be capable of doing it, it's key to their progression as well as a person to try and even to make mistakes. Then to trust that even when they make a mistake, to allow them to keep going. Now, may have to keep another eye on them, closer eye on them, but ultimately it's good. Because we don't know how good we can be until we try. I feel like sometimes I'm too scared of the unknown, thinking that I'll never really be ready for something. Or, for example, I think that I'm not ready, but in actuality, I probably will never be ready until I do it. Like, oh, I'm ready to be a leader. Oh, when I'm ready to be a leader, that's when I'm going to take the helm. It's not like that. It's you'll never be ready to be a leader as much as you think. So just do it. Make your mistakes. Just make sure that the contingencies are considered and the mistakes are minimized to the best of our ability. Things are going to be okay. Even when things are not okay, they will be okay. It just takes time and effort. Yeah. So 2021, I need extreme ownership. I wonder if someone's going to get that reference. Also in 2021, I need to evolve my personal circle, have a tight-knit group of close friends and loved ones. At this point, I can expand that. I need to expand that. Yeah. There's so much to talk about, but being able to sit down and talk for this 12 minutes and 35 seconds has been really good for me. To be able to open up and hear myself talk instead of pacing in a room thinking to myself. Being able to hear what I have to say definitely puts things in more perspective for myself. That being said, thank you for listening. And whatever's happening in your life, I hope the good continues to be good. I hope the bad gets overcome over time. And as I said previously, if things are not okay, they will be. They will be okay. It just takes time and effort and emphasis on effort.